split image, sunglasses.
That was a picture that actually could have been taken at pretty much any race throughout the season. So it's the engineer's truck and the spiral staircase that comes down from the engineer's truck. So one of the differences this year was drivers, because of the protocols put in place, drivers were coming from their driver's room and straight into the garage. And towards the end of the season, they were actually putting their helmets on in the driver's room and coming across that way. So you didn't have a lot of time to photograph a driver. Even being embedded with the team, you didn't see the driver that much. But this was one area that I knew the driver would come down. And actually, there are quite a few pictures around that area. The trucks are polished every day, and basically that's a reflection in some of the black panels on the truck. And I just like a reflection picture. It's just one of my things. So.
Beautiful. I guess for a driver like Lewis, who's just mobbed wherever he goes, this year in that respect has been a bit quite refreshing, because he knows that it's just a clean walk from his room to the garage.
I'm sure it has. I mean, obviously, as he was coming into the circuit, there were photographers there. But once he's in the circuit, walking from, say, the engineer's truck to the garage, there's basically me there. Yeah.
And when he sees you for the first time that morning, on any given morning, or vice versa, does he always say, "Hi, Steve," or give you a wave or something like that?
Usually the first sort of time he passes me, basically that, "Hi, Steve." And then we both get on with our jobs.
Very good. And there we go. I mean, that picture sums up so many things for me. That obviously sums up everything that Lewis has brought to the sport in 2020 and how hard he's worked for that, and justifiably so. The gleam in the eye indicates that he's a happy boy there. But beyond that, I guess from a photographic point of view, you had a whole new world out there with figures wearing masks, and you were having to focus even more on the eye. I know in one of your videos on the Mercedes channel, you say in any portrait you focus on the eyes, but this was sheer proof of that, correct?
Yeah. You can still tell whether somebody's smiling. You can still get a good expression just from their eyes. But it has made it more difficult, made it more challenging. I'm looking forward to the day when we don't have to wear masks in the paddock again. But
do you know exactly what moment that was?
It was at Imola, and it was late in the day. He was actually doing a TV pen, and that was, I think it was one of the camera lights that was lighting him. So it was sort of maybe 7 in the evening, something like that. So it was just getting dark, or slightly dark. And in typical Steve Etherington attention to detail, I see we've got a slight gold burst on the earring there. Yeah, but I don't know whether that's attention to detail or whether that's just pure fluke. I think you'd have to say a lot of luck in that one. Just a few technical details on that, shooting in that sort of light and getting that sort of light on Lewis's face. What settings are you talking about there? You're underexposing. I can't remember the exact setting, but you're underexposing. You're exposing for the highlights, so basically the sort of lighter parts of the face, you're exposing for that, so the rest of the face goes dark. And is that a long lens shot? It would be, I've got a 2 to 400, it's probably on that, I'm guessing. Yeah, certainly 200. And what lenses and bodies do you use, Steve? I use Canon equipment. I use, at the moment I'm using the 1DX system with lenses from 16mm up to, it's actually a 400 with a 1.4 on, so that makes it 560. But I've also, the last 4 races, tried out the new mirrorless system, so which is interesting. It's a bit like learning photography again. The viewfinder is completely different. It's an electronic viewfinder, so but it's a good system, and that's the way photography is going. So I may well do that next year. So that was Valtteri winning the first race of the season, and it's an obvious picture to take. Obviously, the car passing the team celebrating. But I also wanted to get the empty grandstands in there to show a little bit what it's like. It worked out quite well. A little bit of sunlight glinting through as well. So yeah. Lovely. Now this one,
study in yellow?
Obviously, we had no access to the track, so you were always trying to find little vantage points that you could get some action of the car rather than it just being coming out of the garage. And this again was in Austria, but it was the Styrian Grand Prix, so the second race. And I got up onto the podium. So as the cars came in, especially the Mercedes cars, they would pull over so that they could box in the garage. But as they pulled over, they drove over the Parc Fermé area, which was painted yellow that day. So it just makes a different image, really. The car, it's almost like a studio picture in a way, but the car's just basically driving over the yellow paint, and almost, well, it is coming underneath me as well. So it's just, you're trying to get a different angle all the time. You're trying to get an action picture when you're not even out on track. So it's just, I just like the contrast of the black against the yellow. This was, I think it was the Saturday, it was a wet day in Austria. Again, second race, Styrian Grand Prix. So it must have been qualifying. And again, we could get up on the roof there, so the roof of the pit block. So I could stand basically above Mercedes in that area on the roof. So we could get an angle on the track. And it always seems to work quite well when it's raining. As the car goes past, you get a little bit of spray, and also the light picks up in the spray. So I've done that picture before out on track, but on this occasion I was on the roof of the pit block to get it. And again, it works quite well with lack of colour in there. So it's quite a dark track because of the rain, obviously a black car, and the red light picking up behind.
How much of a pan did you have to do on that shot, Steve, from that angle?
It's not that slow. I'd say it's probably 125th of a second, something like that. I think I was just trying to make sure I got a picture. I don't think there was many opportunities to get that picture, so I just wanted to make sure I got it. Ideally, you'd go down to 60th or something like that, but at that point, or anything less than that, you start to lose part of the car's sharpness. You'll always get something sharp, but you'll lose a part of it. And on this occasion, I wanted most of the car to be sharp, so probably 125th of a second, something like that.
Second last one. This is Valtteri doing his donuts in Abu Dhabi. Yeah. And again, you've got incredible clarity around the roll hoop area and the camera mount, and the smoke coming off the rear tyres, just gorgeous.
I wasn't sure that they were going to do this. In previous years, it obviously has happened, so I made sure I was in a position that I could get something. Having done it previous years, I know where to be. And again, Verstappen obviously won the race, and he came in to the pit lane, so I thought, oh, nothing's going to happen. And then, of course, the two Mercedes drove along the start-finish straight, and then started their donuts, and Valtteri was close to me. And it's a strange thing with these donuts. You have to get the pictures in quite early, because after a few seconds you just can't see anything, and that was the case on the last day of the season. So Valtteri started his donuts, and that would probably be on the second rotation, maybe second or third rotation. And in the end, there was just smoke. And I actually asked him afterwards, how did you know where you were on the track? And he said he could see because he was looking up to the lights, and he could see where the lights were, so he knew where he was on the circuit. So yeah, because you couldn't see anything, you couldn't see in front. But by the time he'd finished his donuts, you couldn't see the car. But he could see where the lights were and knew where he was on the circuit.
And you can just see his hand there, raised hand. He's doing it all with one hand. A lovely shot. And this is the final shot, the daylight starburst. That's not a flash, that's the sun, right?
That is the sun, yeah, on that occasion, yeah. In Portugal, we had some great skies in Portugal. car basically pulling out of the garage in front of me. So it's just low down, and again I shoot that one quick. You could shoot it slow, but I quite like everything to be sharp. So camera's pretty much on the ground, I think. And again, as the car goes out, so that'll be 16 mil. So you're actually quite close to the tyre, but you know where they're going to drive.
And what about the timing of the sun on the edge of the grandstand? Was that critical?
That's one thing you can actually work on. So you obviously can see that you're in sunlight, so you know there where the shadow is. So that obviously you plan the picture. So you plan the picture without the car in, so you know where the sun is and where the grandstand is and the garage roof. So all of that is in place, and then you just wait for the car to drive through it.
Well, you hope the car's going to drive through it.
It will do, yeah.